At Nourish Studio, healing is never just one thing. Here, many modalities live under one roof, each practitioner offering their own unique way of supporting body, mind, and nervous system. In this interview series, you will get a chance to meet the people behind the practices, to hear their stories, their approach, and how they support real human healing. Whether you are curious, seeking support, or simply exploring what's possible, today you are invited to meet them all. Welcome to Nourish, a place where many parts of healing join together. And today I'm sitting down with holistic therapist Gemma Cataldi. Welcome everyone. Welcome back to this time episode 2 of Voices of Nourish. And my guest today is Gemma.
Hello.
Gemma, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming here. And can you tell us who you are and what is that you do?
So my name's Gemma. I am a holistic therapist. So I work with Sharon upstairs, and I do a variety of different treatments, from massages, all of the body massages, Indian head massage, aromatherapy, facials, and cupping, deep tissue. So a range of holistic therapies.
Lots of variety, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you remember what first drew you to holistic therapy? It was any personal tuning point for you? And also, if someone doesn't know who a holistic therapist is, how would you explain?
So I'll answer the second question first, I think. So holistic therapy really is about giving somebody a treatment that treats them as a whole rather than one thing. So it's, me and Sharon are very, very, we're good at the side of the holistic therapy side, in the fact that if we have a client come into us and say, I've got a particular problem, it's not about just treating that one problem. It's treating where that problem's come from and what might be causing that problem, and also not just sticking to one particular treatment. So both me and Sharon are very good at saying to a client, let's do a little bit of this and bring in a little bit more of this, and we'll try a bit of this, because I find you get a lot of therapists that a client goes to them and it's like, oh, you've paid for a deep tissue massage, so that's what you're going to get today.
And you stick with that one.
We don't do that. We go, okay, well, you might need a little bit of a deep tissue, but I mean, especially with me, I go, well, you might need a bit of deep tissue, but we could also try some cups today and put some cups on it and see whether that helps the deep tissue, because the two work very well together. So the holistic side is all about not just sticking, in my mind, is not sticking to one thing because that's what you're being paid to do. It's more about, what does that client need as a whole? And it's also, it brings in, when a client lays on a couch with either of us, it's about what's going on in their life that's potentially causing that problem. So whether it's the massage they need, or whether it's the massage and a chat and a bit of a vent, it's all of it. It's a whole kind of product that you're giving them to make them walk out of that door feeling a lot better than they did when they first came in. And the first question, I would say it was as a child. So I wanted to be a holistic therapist right from an early age, or something along the lines of a holistic therapist. I was always a child that had a interest in nature, an interest in being spiritual, even though I hadn't been brought up that way. My mum and dad aren't particularly spiritual people. I always found myself sat in a field meditating when I was young, or walking it. I was lucky enough that I grew up in the middle of the country. I grew up on a farm, so I had a lot of land around me that I could wander as a child and go and pick things, and I was always, out and about. I didn't live in a street with other children, so I didn't have anyone to kind of go out and play with in the evening. So I used to find my time just out doing my own thing in nature. So my mum and dad, when I was about 4 years old, said to me, I've got a headache, Gemma, can you put your hands on my head? And I'd put my hands over their head like this, and they'd say, oh, you've got healing hands.
And kind of that
spurred it. Yeah. And I thought, oh, I could do something with this. And then my whole life, all the other kids at school were like, oh, I don't know what I want to do. And I was always like, I know what I want to do. And then when I got to leaving school, all my friends went to college and did A-levels. And I thought, I don't want to do A-levels. I don't want to do maths and English. I don't want to go to university. I want to pursue this. So I went to college and did 3 years of beauty therapy and holistic therapy. And I didn't particularly want to do the beauty therapy. It's just you had to do that to then advance onto holistic therapy. So I did a year of beauty therapy and then a year and a half, 2 years of holistic therapy.
What an interesting journey.
I know.
And before you become a therapist, what did you believe healing was, before you start doing your job, and how did that change for you?
I think healing for me is making somebody feel better. It's the simplest way of putting it. It's making somebody feel better, and that can be anything from a spiritual feeling better, a calmness, an energy change. It can be an appearance. Healing can be somebody coming in and feeling like, we were just talking about the facials, but feeling like, they're losing their jawline, or they feel like their skin's not very nice, and walking out the door and with that confidence. So it can be anything from the energy right up until the confidence side of things for me is healing. And I don't think it's ever changed. I think I've always felt, I'm not particularly spiritual in the fact that you won't see me dancing around a fire and dressed in white. I would love to do that, but I'm not that far over on the spiritual side. But I've always had this really weird connection where I can almost feel earth energy. And I've always been aware that there's something more around us all the time. And I think it's just about tapping into it and listening to it. And I've always been particularly in tune with my own, my own instincts.
And that's, for me, sounds more spiritual rather than running around the fire.
Yes.
So when someone comes to you, to your treatment, what do you notice first? Or how would you sum up, from all the people have received treatment from you, what would you say first before the words even begin between you and the client?
I think everybody does this in their day-to-day life. I think it's just some people notice it more than others, but I think you read somebody's body language before you ever speak to somebody. So I can tell normally if somebody walks in my room whether they're an anxious person, whether they're slightly nervous about a treatment, whether they're going to be a person that needs to talk and get something off of their chest, or whether they're going to be a person that's kind of more quiet and just wants a rest and a bit of peace. I think body language is the first thing I notice in somebody.
And using your intuition as well to recognize if that person actually need a peace and quiet, or actually want to lay on you some information.
Well, sometimes you get a little bit of a crossover where they might walk in and you think this person's going to be quite quiet and reserved. They're obviously a bit more nervous, or they're not going to give away as much as somebody else could potentially. But by the time you're halfway through a treatment and you've broken down that barrier of them feeling nervous about meeting you for a first time, that kind of crumbles, and then they feel like they can open up to you. So it can change during a treatment where that person can go from quite an anxious, nervous, quiet person to becoming somebody that actually gets it all off their chest by the end of the session. It does change. It's not always, but sometimes it definitely changes.
So my next question is kind of linked for the things you just said. Like, how do you think how the emotions usually show up in the body in your work? Because obviously your work is body touch, right? You touch people. So can you recognize in people where they store emotions? Like when you touch shoulders or your face and you feel like jaw is tense or shoulders are tense?
Well, you've just hit the nail on the head, because most people will store tension in their shoulders, or one of the worst places. and that's our posture. I mean, people are tense, you do this with your shoulders, and actually I do it even, and I have to, sometimes I sit at work and think, pin your shoulders down, and I have to like push my shoulders down, because we all start to put our shoulders to our ears when we get tense, and it's as animals, it's our defense mechanism is to curl into a ball. So when people do suffer with anxiety and things like that, they tend to be more tense in their shoulders. But also people do hold a lot of tension in jaws. And I'm a nightmare for clenching my jaw at night. So I don't do it in the day, but I wake up sometimes and my jaw's completely almost locked. Where I've been, and I definitely feel that's got worse when I've got to a certain age as a woman. I think that comes in with hormones, that you start to clench your jaw a lot more. So people hold a lot of tension in their jaws, in their shoulders, and we were never designed to sit at desks, so that causes a lot of problems. We were never designed to look at a phone like this. So
the tension at the back.
Correct. And actually a really good example of that is we get a lot of clients in who have headaches, and they come in and they go, I've got a headache, I think it's caused by hormonal issues, or I think it's caused by something else. And most of the time, not always, but it's not in their head, it's in their shoulders. And it's because they're so tense in their shoulders that pain then goes straight up the back of their neck and over into their head. So once you release it in their shoulders, it releases the tension of that headache. So they're two really good places that a lot of people hold up. You see people's body language, you might get people move their hands a lot if they're nervous, or they tap, you can, that's what I mean about the body language. As soon as they walk in the door, you can see just by the way they sit on the chair when I'm having a chat with them like this, how they hold themselves as they're nervous. And it is a scary thing having a treatment. I always say to people, don't worry about being afraid. It's normal. You've never, unless obviously it's a client that comes to me all the time, and then obviously over time they're not nervous at all. But the first time a client walks through the door, they're taking their clothes off, they're in a room that they've never been into, and they're with somebody else who they've never met, and I'm about to be like, wow, I'm going to put my hands on your back, or I'm going to put especially with facials, you'd think obviously taking your top half of your body off for a back, neck and shoulders would be more intimidating than somebody touching your face. But actually, with a facial, I am stood like this over their face. For potentially an hour and a half of me doing this on somebody's face. So
very close
contact, and having somebody literally all in your face. So, your instinct is to be like,
protective,
out of my face. But to do that, it's amazing to watch somebody go from being like, okay, I can do this. And within 10, 15 minutes of the treatment, they're completely just like this.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So it's lovely.
And if someone is completely new to the holistic therapy and feel unsure, or as you said, a little bit scared, then what would you say to them? The new person, completely new, who come into your treatment, what would you say?
I'd say, I promise you're going to love it. Me and Sharon and everybody at Nourish will make you feel as comfortable as possible. That's what we're all good at. That's what we've been trained at or to do. I promise you that once you get over that initial nerves, you will feel absolutely incredible. And our rooms are warm, our rooms are comfortable. They're very, obviously we keep them very clean. Everything is set up for you to have the best journey that you can possibly have within a treatment. We've thought about everything that goes into it, the lighting, the smells, the mood, how we talk to clients, how we prepare clients, how you're dressed during a treatment to make you as comfortable as possible. Obviously with little things like modesty towels, you're never ever going to be overexposed to anything more than you're comfortable with doing. And we will adapt treatments to however you want to be comfortable. So if something you're not comfortable with, or a bit part of your body you're uncomfortable with, or you're worried about showing a part of your body, or a mole, or anything that worries you, if you tell us, we will adapt to it. You know, we will never be like, oh, well, you know, it doesn't matter, you need to take this off. We will always be, that's okay, we can leave that part, and we will adapt around you. Everything is adaptable to that person. No treatment is ever the same with any client. It will always be whatever you need, we will provide, and we will give you the best treatment that we can possibly give you.
Lots of reassurance, isn't it, before even treatment starts?
Yeah.
And maybe I will finish with one more question, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
How has doing the work changed the way you live your own life?
I think it's changed me in the fact that I'm very lucky that I do a job that I love, which I wish everybody could say that.
I agree.
I mean, because although I went to college, not giving away my age, 21 years ago to do this as what I wanted to do for life, it didn't actually happen 21 years ago. So I came out of college with all my qualifications and went, yay, big wide world, let's do holistic therapy. But 21 years ago, holistic therapy wasn't what it is now. Nobody really cared about their well-being 21 years ago. The only people that ever got massages were people that could afford it. And then it was a massage for relaxation and to have somebody pamper you. It wasn't a massage because you've got, you know, shoulder pain or back pain or because you need stress relief. It was all about, you know, can you just stroke me for an hour because I'm paying you to do that? It was a completely different world. So I walked out into it and thought, I don't know what I'm going to do now, because I knew what would happen is I would either end up on a cruise ship, which is what a lot of the girls who I went to college with ended up doing. I was a bit too much of a home bird to end up on a cruise ship, and I'm not too good on boats. So I thought I'm either going to end up doing that or I'm going to end up in a salon, and then I know what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up doing the beauty therapy, because that's what was bigger than the massage side of things at the time. And I thought, I don't want to do that. I don't want to end up waxing and doing nails and pedicures, because it wasn't my passion. My passion was the holistic side. So I actually ended up being in the corporate world for the past 21 years. So my whole direction actually went in a completely different way, and I ended up being in offices for the past 21 years. I actually ended up, my last job was a mortgage broker. So completely different world. But actually I think that experience and coming back to it again, and my life is completely turned. I've always been a believer that one door opens when another one closes, and the universe will push you where you need to be when you need to be there. And it just so happened that I decided to leave the corporate world when Sharon was looking for somebody to come on board with her. And me and Sharon have known each other for, 11 years now, because our husbands grew up together. So we've known each other on a social world anyway, of kind of going out for dinner together and going over each other's houses and whatever. And it just so happened that when she was kind of ready to expand and needed kind of some backup, I was ready to go. I've had enough of this and I want to kind of go back into what I love to do. But that transition of having 21 years of doing something, not that I didn't enjoy, but something I always felt didn't fit. I felt like I wasn't where I should be. I wasn't grounded in the place that I was in. And I remember saying to Sharon on the first day I came in here, and I had a complete day full of clients. And I said to Sharon, I don't know if I can do this. Like, what am I going to do? And she was like, you'll be fine. Like, once you get going, you'll be fine. And I remember the first client walking through the door, and I was so nervous. And as soon as they got on the couch and I put my hands on their back, it was like riding a bike. I was like, I know what I'm doing. I remember this. And I just thought, oh my God, this is what I wanted to do. And the passion, the fire was still in me to do it. But now the change is that I love my job. I never feel like I come to work. I always feel like I'm just doing a hobby, really. But also it's the flexibility for me. I've got a child who's 5 years old. So it means I can do my two passions together. I can do this and I can be a mum at the same time.
Amazing. Gemma, thank you so much. Such a pleasure.
You're
chat with
welcome.
you.
Thank you.
Congratulations of finding a courage of closing one door and open another one.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you.
Thank you for listening, and stay tuned for another episode. Thank you so much. Bye.